Let's see. Bit rate. All right. So, it's Chris, as always. Today we have some easy ones. Actually, we've got some more stuff later, but I figured I would do the two easy things first, and then go on to the harder stuff. We are supposed to have a couple people coming by today for board repair. I need to turn my phone on. What's up, Mohammed? Get my phone turned on here. It'll probably go off for 6 hours since it's been off for a little while. But we've got a couple easy jobs first. This one is a G3 charge port. This one has been worked on before and has the wrong port on it. Let's see. Alright, it's just on the surface. That's good. So this has the wrong port on it. So it matches, but the port itself is flipped. So whenever you plug in your charger, the power and the ground are actually backwards, so it won't charge, and it gives you a dead short on the charging cable. So we're going to take this port off, and we have the correct ones in. My phone's going nuts. I'm going to have to mess with the bit rate on my stream, because it doesn't like having both the 1080p and the 720p frame or streams at the same time. What's up, Brandon? I'm going to put a little tape over this microphone. This tape is absolute shit. We're waiting on the actual Kapton tape. This stuff was not real, but it was ordered in a pinch just to get us through until the real stuff arrives. But that's what you get when you pay for cheap shit. The easy stuff. No. No, this actually is easy stuff. It's a Tristar and a charge port, which very rare to get a charge port. We see them every now and then on the cheaper tablets and stuff. Alex, not normally. I only come down here when I need to get caught up or people are coming in from out of town. We're supposed to have 2 people from out of town come in today to drop off some boards. Well, they're actually going to wait on them to be done, but this one's been worked on before. This is the wrong port. I noticed that 2 of the ground pads on the backside have been ripped. Not a huge deal, but oh, as you can see, that's not Kapton tape. See how it rolled up on itself? Kapton tape, if you have the good shit, when you get it hot, it does nothing. It doesn't react to it. Alright, so you can see our main pads are there, but the main grounds on the sides are gone. Not a big deal. As you can see, they just go straight to the ground pad here and straight to the ground pad here. It's more for stability, but whatever. Microfix, are you trying to get me to start my videos with "Let class begin"? Alright, so now that that's off, I'm gonna grab some Wick, and I need to turn my irons on. Larry, I don't know if the dot means you're driving or whatever it means. You always post a dot whenever it starts. Is it just so I know you're here? Larry's here, guys. Larry. Alright, so I'm just gonna wick the pads here. When I get them flattened out, we're gonna see if we can wick our holes clean. We should be able to. Yeah. This is all leaded solder from what I can tell, so no big deal. All right, so those are all cleaned out. C that you're just letting me know you're here, or C you're driving. And I've already got a phone call. Hold on one second. Not a moment's peace around here. Alright, so even on my days when I'm closed, I'm never closed. We're going to go ahead and clean the board up here. You don't want to get any liquid inside that microphone, or heat, really. I mean, the heat's okay, but you don't want much. Those, the elements inside the speaker themselves are fairly sensitive. Get back to my computer chair. Larry's just taking it easy, boys. He had a hard day yesterday. Did y'all see his iCloud removal? It was pretty intense, and I mean, but you can't deny the results. That board is obviously no longer iCloud locked, so. Alright, so we're gonna grab a new port. The correct one. It's supposed to be, at least. Let's make sure. Yeah, they look right. It kind of suck if the image didn't match the actual product. Alright, so you can see the difference here. See, these ports are flipped. So what happens is, even though these are the same prong style and everything, when you hook that charger up, your negative and positive are backwards. So you're sending 5 volts straight to ground, so your charger will immediately short out, which is what this was doing. So we are going to set our new port in. If you have it wicked well, that port should sit down perfectly flat on the board if I don't knock it out. So see how your legs sit right against the board? You don't have to really force them into position. So what I like to do on some of these is flip them over, if I can hold it in place. I like to use the mat to apply pressure downward and solder the legs down from the backside. Sometimes I've seen, if I try to tack them from the top, I'll end up, the solder's tension will actually lift the port up when I try to move away at times. So I usually will just tack down a leg or so on the backside here and then flip it over and solder everything. So add a little solder to our iron. Alright. So that should be on that one. See if I can get in here. There we go. Alright, so that'll be held in place now, and it should be flat, which it is. Now I'll go ahead and reflow these joints on the top too, just to make sure that it's gotten on there well. And you can also do some alignment this way. So if you want that port to move around some, you can just reflow that leg. Alright, so that looks good. I actually like to use, that was leaded, but I prefer to use lead free on these because it's stronger. What's up, Hussein? So I'm gonna go back in on the rear legs and put, and on the actual pins that go on the board for our power and data. I'm going to use lead free. This is a high 10 silver copper mixture solder. You'll see that it does not flow as well because of the heat that's required to melt it, and it doesn't look as shiny. So see the difference? Lead is fairly shiny, lead free is fairly dull. I don't know if y'all can pick that up or not. Actually, I might be able to adjust the exposure some. So see the difference in those two joints. So we'll come over here, and the proper technique to solder, which it's hard to do in some situations, but the proper technique is to actually heat your joint and your part, and then you should be able to reflow solder on the opposite side. So see how I can start melting that solder over here? That's actually the appropriate way to do soldering, but honestly I think you get a really good joint even if you don't do it that way, but according to the textbooks, that's the proper way to do it. So I'm going to flow some more lead free into these. It may be a mixture, but it'll be stronger than just that leaded. Alright, now we probably have a little ball on the backside. So we'll remove some of that. There we go. There we go. Alright, so you can tell whenever you solder these, if you look at the back side, you can tell if you have enough solder. So these here are fairly flat, but this one I can still see the edge of the pin. This one's okay. So if we flip it back over, you can add more solder from the top side, and it'll pull itself down to the bottom side. Alright, so now if we flip that back over, see how it's starting to encompass the whole thing now? So if we add a little more, it'll keep on flowing through. So now it's filled in. Now I'm just gonna hit that real quick just to make sure it's nice and flowed all the way through. You want to make sure these legs get a good amount of solder on because they need to be well encapsulated in the solder, just to make sure that they've got the strongest point they can, because USB ports in general are weak as shit, and they usually fail because these legs will allow the port itself to move, and then when the port moves, it ends up breaking your connection on the back side of the port. And another phone call. Hold on one second. What's up, Paul? The lady just called. We're closed on Saturday and Sunday. We tell everybody that. It's on our window, it's on our business card, it's on our Facebook page, it's on Google, it's on everything. Lady called. She dropped off an iPad mini Friday, and depending on how busy we are, we usually can get them done the same day, but it was fairly busy Friday, so she was calling to see if it was done. I told her, well, it's probably not, seeing that Friday was fairly busy. I said, Monday for sure it'll be ready. I was like, we're not really open on the weekends. And I guess that was kind of confusing. I don't know. But Either way, it'll be done for. That's the business, I guess. I try to tell people that we're not open on the weekends just for that reason, because I understand people drop them off Friday and then they don't hear anything for 3 days. It may be a little disconcerting, but trust us, we got it. We got you. Alright, let's let these get up to temperature. What do I have them set? Alright, good. Got a new mic? No new mic. I turned the volume up on it. I need to get one. I need to ask Jessa the one that she had, because I really like that one. It looked good. So I'm going to put a little solder on my tweezers here. The ground pad is going to be the hardest one to solder on these, because it's going to wick away all of your heat. So my soldering technique for these pins is I normally take my tweezers and I'll sit it on it and rub it down it. That way some of the solder goes onto it, and then touch and hold it on the pad so that the solder on the pad will kind of join with the solder on the leg. So those should all be good now. Yeah, a Lewis setup is I've looked at them. They're not that expensive. The wireless portion is the most expensive part of it. You can get a wired one that doesn't cost much. I even looked at the ones that I guess they call them the lavalier or whatever it is, the one that goes on your shirt. The only thing I don't like about those is most of those are wired too, and then you have to do wireless. And what's up, Eddie? And the wireless portion, you can buy a cheaper wireless one, but I don't know how well they work. The one that, like, similar to what Lewis has, I think the one that I saw online was like $100 and something, which isn't terrible, but there's more expensive ones that have much better range and audio quality. But I'm doing this just to kind of help people. It's if you can't hear me, I'm sorry. No, it's not I don't think it's lapel. They call it like a lavalier or something, Paul. I don't know, I have to look it up. Hold on. Yeah, it's called lavalier. Lavalier microphone. It's the ones that you attach like to your shirt. Now they got some cheaper ones on here actually that aren't bad. $80. They got a real cheap one here. It's $90 or $40, but they do have the headset piece that kind of like what Lewis uses. This one that I can see is like $290. But as much as the microscope is always in front of me, what I've thought about doing is buying the one that Jessa has. It's fairly small. It's like that big. It's a USB mic, and my shit doesn't move enough. Like this, the camera is connected to USB straight to this laptop that I'm streaming on. So I thought about just mounting the microphone right here, which is literally right in front of me at all the time. So it should improve the audio quality. Yeah, Lewis has a really cool setup. You should. I mean, I didn't understand how much he had invested, but it fits Lewis because he's kind of an audiophile, and I would assume some of what would you call a video person, a videophile. He really likes higher quality equipment, and I didn't understand. I knew he had a camera, but no, the blue box on just the scope is her microscope itself. That's an Opticam. The camera setup that Lewis has is pretty fucking intense. Alright, so just looking here, let me increase the brightness there so you all can see it. So if we zoom in here, I tighten my scope up and it makes it really hard to move it. You can see that all our pads are soldered down. There's no bridging there that I can see. No, it looks good. Got a little divot in the board there, but whatever. All our legs look like they're soldered down well. They're not going to move anywhere. Probably clean them up a little bit. They got a little slag in them right up here. That's mostly aesthetics. I would assume that this joint is fairly stable. Alright, so let's pop it back in the frame and test it. Yeah, Lewis does have multiple cameras, but his main camera, if you haven't seen his main camera, it's a fairly nice unit. It's very impressive. I can see why his video quality is much better. I'm using like bare bones cheap ass shit. I'm using a webcam on my computer and the Microscope camera to show everything. I am going to order another camera here soon and mount it somewhere on the scope. That way you all can see what I'm doing down here. I thought about mounting it off like the arm or something up here and just angling it to where you can see, and that way I can turn this out of the way and you can still see what I'm doing. I mean, a lot of this shit down here is boring. It's fucking putting screws in and stuff, but I guess some people like to see that. Alright, so we'll grab our battery and let's see if this phone charges. So it's at 0%. It's flashing at me, but it's trying to charge. We'll give it a second. I don't have the button on. I'm trying to press the button and it's not there. So it is charging. It's flashing the red light. Before, when we hooked it up, it would short the charger out immediately. So let me see what my business phone is at. It does. Alright, so alright, so I'm gonna let my business phone charge some more. It's got fast charging, so it usually charges up really quickly. Kate Floss is here. Can I buy ad space in the top right corner? Kate, depends on what you're advertising. Excuse me, Paul. I am trying to conduct business. Micah is trying to pay me for some advertising space, I think. Well, he doesn't know it yet, but he's gonna pay me for advertising space. Micah has a website. If he hasn't put anything there, nothing family friendly. Well, that's good. I mean, we're not a family friendly channel, so. Micah has a website and he hasn't started selling anything on it yet, but the website is for sale if anybody wants it. Kate, you may be interested. It's called rubberdongs.com. It would be a perfect website if you want to sell any type of rubber dongs. And you can take that however you'd like. But it is for sale. SMS BSNS. What? So now the boring part, putting screws back in. I'll just read chat. Token rings. Token ring tokens in here. Serious business only. Rubber dongs is serious business, Eddie. Do you know how big the rubber dong industry is? Larry, tell him. Tell him how big the rubber dong industry is. Larry knows. So is it Kate Kate Floss, or is it Kate Floss, or is it Kate Flosse? Or, I mean, is there a hyphen there? I know how big the rubber dong industry is. Literally, everyone knows about the IBM tokening network systems. Paul, you are a man in another realm of computer tech industry. Shit is about to get crazy on rubber dongs. That website is for sale. Micah said he would sell it for $800. So if you want rubberdongs.com, there's a hymen. Yeah, there's a hymen there. A hyphen or a hymen? Evidently, Kate Foss has her Fosse has her internet virginity. Still, I don't know how that's possible. All right, Paul. Have a good night, sir. Paul is a time traveler. If you all don't know, he is currently in the future. Paul, if anything happens in the future, let us know, please. All of them. On a scale of 1 to 10, all of them. Alright, so next board up is an iPhone 6. It's water damaged. And the previous attempt on it was to look around here. So, oh, that sucks. Pad's lifted. I was asked if I could put this component back on. This is obviously either a Sprint or Verizon board. Hold on, I got a customer coming in. Kate Flosse. That was actually pretty good. Yeah, this is earwax. This comes from the a tribe in Africa, actually. They have this special clear earwax that you can only get from them. It is indeed, it's syrup. Okay. So, as you can see, somebody's tried to pull this Tristar off and has not gotten it hot enough. So we're gonna heat this up until it's ready to come off. Alright, so there we go. It's off. As Kate pointed out, there is some water damage on the front side, so we're gonna have to go back and look at that. Also, this component down here for the what I assume the difference in these for the Verizon and Sprint models, this area is fully populated. On the AT&T models, most of these areas down here are not populated, so this one definitely isn't. But we're gonna have to find a board that has this area, and we're also gonna have to run a jumper over here under this chip and fix that. I don't really see any water damage. It seems like most of it was really contained to up here. You got some on the camera connector. Your backlight test points here are obviously burnt, which always happens because they're exposed voltage rails. Looks like we've got some up here above the touch connector. There was some on the pins of the touch connector. Most of it seems to be isolated to this top section though, which is really common. But we need to go ahead and replace this Tristar. Kate, actually I don't use bees, we use rice instead. And everyone knows why rice is used. It's because I really like rice and not because of what you were thinking. And rice does attract me. Alright, so I'm going to clean this off. This has lead-free solder in it. Stupid new question, but do all those circuits need to be showing? What do you mean all those circuits? Let me know what you mean, Eddie. I don't have a clue what the fuck you mean there. Alright, so just a little leaded solder. We want to be gentle because this thing's been tortured a little bit. So I really don't want to lift any pads. We'll have to replace that capacitor over here that's missing. Alright, so that should be cleaned up enough. Do they have to be cleaned? I would, Eddie. I wouldn't leave them corroded like that. It's just going to cause you more issues. No, Kate. Bees don't drink water fast enough. I've actually tested it. I put some bees in water and they didn't drink it. They didn't drink it at all. They just drowned. So, I would say your assumption is incorrect. I tried to get it out without laughing, but it's still funny. So, if you put rice in water, it absorbs it. If you put bees in water, they just die. So, Kate, you are incorrect on your assumption that bees will drink the water faster. It was a surprise to me. I did think bees could swim, but evidently they cannot. She's talking about the test pads. Well, Eddie's talking about the test pads, but... Alright, so I'm just cleaning out the underfill here. I don't think anybody can click that. Yeah, the test points, that's what he's talking about. Alright, so that area down there looks fairly clean. Clean enough to put a chip on it. Clean enough that Kate would date it. I'm so flossy, you already know. Aquatic, fucking aquatic bees. Makes sense now, shit. Would those be sub bees? Subways. Eat fresh. Alright, so I have a enormous amount of flux on the board for no apparent reason. That's just to please the viewers, so that they know that I really like flux. Those damn aquatic bees. Alright, so I'll hold my chip into place. Let it kind of reflow for a second, and now we're going to take it to Pound Town. Oh, it's getting close. It's getting close. Almost there. And it's there. Alright, so that's done. Chips on. Explosion. So we need to put this cap back on the back side here, and then Tristar should be done. I gotta find a board. Well, guess I'm gonna have to go get a board. Thought I had 6s over here, but I have 5 S's. Be right back. I'm so fancy. Orgasmic. Do you talk to your girlfriend that way? Yes. My girlfriend does enjoy being talked to that way. My girlfriend has a good sense of humor, so it makes it fun. Except it may be filled with more disappointment. Who knows? Alright, so let's take off our little buddy here. If you want to get a cap off faster, if you grab the sides of it where it's tinned, the tweezers will transfer some of the heat to it, and you can actually pull them faster than you could if you grabbed it from the sides where it's not tinned. I'm going to attempt not to drop this, and I probably just dropped it. Nope, still there. So we're going to set our little capacitor down there. And hopefully, to keep it from moving, we're going to put a little flux down. What hot air temp does she like? You know what they say. Some girls like it hot. Actually, I would say all girls like it hot. I think most women like showers that will scald you. So I would assume that they all like it hot. Is that not a fair assumption? Well, if this little fucker will turn where I want it to be, I will be happy. Alright, that looks good. Get on there. Weird Al. I mean, not very often. Maybe when I was a teenager. He's a talented guy, but a little quirky. Alright, so that area looks good. Now we need to flip her over here. Let's see. Oh, I might be in luck. This one may have the chip we need. Yes, it does. So this one is a, I assume a Verizon board or something. Let's see if I can grab another board that isn't so populated, so I can show you the differences in them. Of course, all these are populated. Oh, here's one that's not. So this one comes from the factory. See all the parts that are missing down there? Like it's missing all those chips. Those don't come on it. I've taken baseband off this one just for practice purposes, but those chips aren't there on every single model. We have a lot of Verizon variants here, so it does get a chip layer. If you look from the board I just showed you, if it wasn't supposed to have that chip, all these would be not populated. The guy that sent this in said he knocked that off. So he said there was a chip there and that he knocked it off. So I'm gonna believe him. It could have been Kate Floss that sent this in, and I'm actually just getting trolled the whole time. Flosse. Alright. So that is cleaned up. You don't get a chip, and you don't get a chip. You don't get a chip. Alright, so time to run our jumper wire. We got another pad that's loose. That's cool. Right. Looks like it's still connected to its trace at least. Just gonna put you back into place. You stay there. Alright, so that looks alright. Now let's run our jumper. Time to mega zoom here. Alright, so we're going to tin our pad up here, or our trace. We don't have a pad. Alright, so we got our alright, that's tinned up well. Yeah, the 6 boards are different. I think they stopped doing that in the 6S and the 7s. The 6S and the 7s, I believe, are universally the same, so any carrier can use them now. Honestly, I'm surprised that it took them this long to do it, but I guess you save a little money if you don't fucking populate every single one of them, but epoxy it down, no. That trace will stay there. That chip will hold it in place. It's too much of a hassle. If it was... The only time that I ever really bother with tacking traces down is if they're extremely long runs to something that I feel like could get hit. Once this chip's on, there's no way that's going to get hit. It'll be flattened down under the chip itself. So if it falls off for some reason, then I guess, but I don't foresee that one moving, to be honest. Alright, so bring our wire over here. Need to tin the wire first, so I'm going to, if I can grab the fucking thing. Alright, just fucking keep spinning around, bitch. Sometimes the wire on these just absolutely would drive me fucking nuts. I'll just grab the other end. Fuck it. So if you just let your tweezers rake across the wire, you can see it tins it up for you. The other easier way, you can drag it through like if you put it on like a ground plane and then just drag it through it, you can tin it that way too. So like that. So now that end is tinned. We're going to come in and try to line this with the trace. It makes it easier to solder if they're parallel with each other. Alright, so tack that down. So it's tacked in place now. On the end here, I'm going to try to make just a there we go, so it runs straight across that pad where it would be. We'll cut off our excess wire and then we'll epoxy that in place because the heat alone from putting this chip on can cause that to move. Alright, so that's off. We'll clean off our flux, aka syrup. I don't want to rub this because it'll knock it off that trace. It could even break that trace. So I just take my cotton swab and roll it across it. See, just from rolling it across it moved it. So we'll knock it back over to where it should be. And now we'll put some UV coating on there to keep it from moving. Pull it towards the end. Alright, that should be good enough. Now we're going to cure that. Away, away. I'm going to set it off to the side and let it sit under the UV light. I have one of the bigger ones, the little fucking nail curing fucking things. I need to use that one. That little flashlight works when the batteries are really like brand new, but other than that, it fucking takes forever to cure that shit. Lauren, the guy that sends me a lot of stuff, one of my buddies, some of you all may know him, Larry does. He's got a fucking high-powered shit that I'm pretty sure if you looked at it would just burn your retinas. So to give you an idea of the temperature here, see it's barely starting to melt that plastic, but it's hot enough that I can melt solder, but I'm not just absolutely scorching this connector. So see that solder melts, but the plastic right next to it is not just catching on fire. Most of your plastics on these are going to be fiberglass reinforced because they have to stand up to heat whenever they're reflowed onto the board. So they can take some heat. I can reflow the connectors themselves at 350 degrees Celsius on my station, and I won't melt them. Nail polish? No, it's UV coating. don't know if the UV nail polish will work or not. It may be too hard. What the fuck is UV plastic weld? Just buy a UV fucking solder mask. It's on eBay. You're overcomplicating it for no reason. It's like $15 for a tube that'll last you 1,000 years. It's in the description, but here you go. Mechanic. I'm giving you, there's the model number and everything. There's even the QR code if you want to fucking scan it. UV curable solder mask. Made in the Chinas. Does it have the manufacturer code on it? Or date? No, it's not. I thought maybe it had the date on it when it was made. It's got a big shiny sticker on the back of it, so you know that it's legit mechanic. Because you don't want somebody stealing your shit. Like, they got their logo and insignia in the hologram and everything. It used to be cheaper, and then a lot of people bought it on eBay, and now it's got more expensive. But look at that piece of fucking flux, old ass rosin shit. BGAs, some BGAs. Alright, so let's test it and see if it's hard enough yet. Oh yeah, she's ready to do work. Shit's hard. Alright, so I'm gonna flip this chip over. I wanna see. Alright, so we got enough solder on there. That should reattach itself. Let's see if that ground pad in the center. It should be okay. So we are going to solder that back on. We'll put down a little bit of flux. You've been timed out by K-Floss forever. Possibly. Is it waterproof? I don't know. I would assume so if you can fully seal around the chip, but I mean, the reason, and I'm sure a lot of people wonder this, and I thought about it for a second too, but the thing you have to keep in mind with any type of waterproofing on these phones, and people wonder why don't they just coat the entire board in something to make it waterproof? Well, you have to have heat dissipation. If the entire board is covered in some type of coating, it's not going to have a very good dissipation of heat. Alright, so that looks good. That should be fairly reflowed. Look at it from the side. It's flat on the board. As flat as we're going to get, I guess. It's soldered. I can pick the board up with it, so we're going to call that one good. So we need to go back up to the top now and address our obvious water damage sections, which should have been done already. Like, if you see this kind of shit, like all this fucking cobweb, fucking whatever the hell, corrosion, clean it up. Like, it takes no time just to clean that off and check. If you're really hard up about it and you want to be a badass about it, you could take this board completely down and strip it and ultrasonic it, and it would be great and all that jazz. But this is just fucking surface shit. Like, look how easy that is just to clean off. And just by cleaning that off, you eliminate any type of possible shorts that you might have had. We can see if there's any actual damage. Like, this pin's a little discolored. I think it'll still work, but you can clean off your test points. You can see that test point started to get eaten away, actually. Part of it's missing. No long screw. I thought there was long screw in the center hole, but there's not. We can see this random piece of red fiber, where the fuck that came from. These components under here look a little rough. No, they'd be okay. We can look at our connector here where it was discolored, see if there's any loose pins. These two test points up here are completely eaten off. All this area looks okay. A little corrosion over here. We'll use our magic corrosion remover. So the corrosion's now gone. So since we know that it was mostly in this area, and I flipped it over and pulled the back shielding and I didn't see anything. RC stuff is a completely different beast than this. I mean, all you have on that kind of stuff is what? A receiver module for the controller. Your motors themselves can be submerged completely because they run off a magnetic and DC current, so it doesn't really affect them. You may get some resistance changes underwater, but that's about it. All your windings and stuff are coated. Your commutation stuff should all be coated. Your brushes are the only thing that's honestly open, but I would assume being in direct contact that the motors would still work even underwater, so it's not the same thing. Parasite for my dog's anus, mixed it with some noodles and gave it to my babysitter for dinner. Okay, so I think we found the first person that's going to be removed from stream. See you later, Pad. So Pad had a short-lived time on stream. Tomorrow I think we're going to hold a memorial for Pad. We really want to let him know that he'll be missed. Almost makes you wonder what these people do with their day. Like, I understand going on streams and joking around, but some of these people, that's all the enjoyment in their life that they get. We'll clean this up, make it look all pretty. Shit. And now watch, I'll go on another stream like, hey man, you banned my friend Pad. Can you unban him? He didn't do anything. I don't know why you banned him. You just banned him because you're a jerk. Well, tell your friend Pad that if he wants to act like an 11-year-old, they have streams for 11-year-olds. Just unfortunately, it's not this one. It's crazy if you see any of the bigger YouTubers that have chat enabled, you can't get a goddamn word in. You couldn't have a conversation on there if you wanted to. It's just the fucking flow of just shit. You meaner. Yeah. If you want to watch a bunch of shit just flow out of people's mouths, you watch those streams. Alright, so I'm going to hook this up and see if we have any type of shorts or anything. Oh, yeah, we do. Alright, so we got dead short right now as soon as I hook up the battery supply. I'll hook it up here again. 2 amps, 1.97 volt. At either test points. It's been answered already. Pretty sure Tigris is getting hot, which is not surprising with this kind of short. Alright, so I'm going to pull the CPU shield since we know that there was some water damage up top here. I just want to see if there's anything visibly wrong on top about CPU. Honestly, I could probably check the battery VCC line and the VCC main line to kind of narrow it down right now without having to pull this, but I suspect since we had water damage over here, there might be something under the shield that might give me a hint what's going on. We'll see. Oh, no. Don't see anything. Normally we'll see a solder ball here up top if there's something going on. But I really don't see much here that's bad. So let's check VCC main for shorts. That's where the electrons bubble up. That's true. I mean, those are electron weighting pools. So we got a VCC main short. We do not have a bat VCC short. Let's see if we have. It's no backlight short. So what we're going to have to do to find this short is we're going to have to remove the battery gate down at the bottom, and we're going to have to short the wires and let it flow straight through. That way we can see where our short is. So let me get this antenna out of the way. I don't think there's any corrosion. If we pull this back shield, I didn't see anything either. Normally this one fucks up, but it looks okay. If we pull this shielding there, I didn't see anything, but there might be. Normally these caps right here around PMIC will be fucked. If any water's gotten there, I don't see anything. There's a little discoloration there, but I don't see any corrosion there. So my assumption is we're gonna have something possibly up here, maybe in the camera LDO area. It could still be one of these caps theoretically. There could be a solder ball in there that we can't see. I'll just have to check. I'm gonna pull CXW up and see. So if you have known corrosion in one area, the thing to do is pull ZXW up, which is an incredibly vital tool, and you want to compare. So we have a VCC main short, so I will highlight VCC main, and then wherever I had corrosion, I'll compare that to see if VCC main is in that area. That's usually the easiest way to find any type of bad component. If you watch Lewis, he does the same thing, sort of. He will go through and find where corrosion is, and then if he has a certain symptom, he will compare that symptom to the areas of corrosion and see if maybe they match. Alright, so we got ZXW open. Takes forever to load. Alright, so I've got it loaded up here. I'm going to highlight VCC main. I still need to get this on the laptop so you all can see it. Alright, so as far as VCC main goes, in the areas that were corroded, the only area that really shows any type of direct tie is going to be up here by the camera LDO. There's an output cap, or an input cap, excuse me. That capacitor there has VCC main on it. I don't necessarily see. So that area has VCC main. VCC main's on these two caps here. Then we slide down, there's VCC main on this inductor. VCC main goes under chestnut. It goes under what I assume this is either something to do with the home button or maybe the camera. Let me see if it's flash. It may be flash. No, it's home button. So that's that small one there is the home button power IC. This one down here may have to do with the camera. Yeah, so that's the camera, flash control and stuff on that chip down there. So these components in here all have VCC main on them, but they look okay. We could still have a short down here possibly from where the work was done. I don't think we do. Tristar itself does not have any VCC main on its circuitry. VCC main is on the gate MOSFET here on this cap, and then it also looks like some of these components up here may have VCC main voltage, but they all look okay. So I am going to, let me see if this shield's bent down. Sometimes you have to pay attention to these shields. People will mat them down and they'll touch something and be shorting. Let's see. So the way to, what normally happens is if there's a short, this gate will get hot, and that's because the gate and Tigris are tied to that, so they normally will get hot whenever there's a short on VCC main. So what I end up doing is removing this MOSFET, and then once the MOSFET's off, you can jump the VCC main and bat VCC lines. That way the gate itself won't get warm. It'll just pass that directly through. Okay. So we have the MOSFET off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw that out and attempt just to bridge the solder itself. Let's see. Actually, I may just drop a wire in there. I really don't want to disturb those. I'd like to just be able to drop it back on, but if not, I mean, whatever. Fuck it. I'll just reball the chip. I'll just try to bridge these. Alright, so those are now bridged. That's one advantage when you draw the solder out, where it doesn't have any flux, it tends to want to stick to your iron. And by doing so, it allows you to bridge connections. So now this side is BAT VCC, these 3, and then these 5 are VCC main. So now you can see where I bridge these 2. These are now always connected. Big, long silver strips. No, there's no dirt. I bridged those 2 connections, Eddie. Those are actually connected now. It's It's a solder bridge, pretty much. You can see the solder itself is moved over and it's touching. The center of that is a bridged piece of solder. Alright, so now in theory we're going to turn our current down because I want to start out about an amp and then come up from there. We're going to hook our leads back up and we're going to see what gets hot. What the fuck is that? Where's all this? Oh, that's a sticker. So where the fuck is this shit coming from? Alright, so we're putting out an amp right now at 0.63 volts. We're going to try to see what gets warm here. So far nothing's getting really warm. What's up, Joe? So we're going to increase our current to 1.5 amps. Alright, so we got a light amount of heat at the top of the board. I'm putting it against my lips because you can feel the heat on your lips a lot easier than you can through your fingertips. Yeah, we have some heat up at the top, but I can't pin. It's really faint right now. There's no like, just like, yeah, that's it right there. I know where it is. Still nothing's really getting hot. So we'll keep cranking up our amperage slowly until we really feel some heat from somewhere. I mean, we definitely have some heat up here. I'm not sure what it is though. We'll keep turning it up until we get something. What's up, Miles? It's really hard to say. I'm fairly certain it's in this area up here that I can feel the heat, but I'm not sure what exactly it is. Alright, so I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to put some freeze spray on the board just to see if we can pinpoint what's getting warm. It's a really gentle warmth, so it's not like anything's just like blistering hot. But usually with this, if you pulse this, okay, so first thing that melted was this cap right here. So I'm going to, this one's still frozen, so we know that's not it. Let me freeze this again So we're going to let that freeze up. Alright, so that's frozen. Now we're going to turn it on again. Alright, so actually you see the backlight I see over here is actually pulsing a little bit. Alright, so that cap melted again. So this cap is melting, and I'm seeing a little bit of like a pulse over here from the backlight driver. I don't see, the LDO and stuff didn't melt. So I'm going to pop that cap off first. Alright, hold on. Let me call this guy up. This guy that's bringing something in. Alright, so we got a guy coming in. I'm going to knock this cap off and see. I don't know if he wants to be on stream or not. So let's see if that was where our short was. And there you go. So we no longer have a short. This is ground. This is power. So if we meter this cap, see that cap's bad. It's got a dead short through the cap. So that's where our short was on VCC main, and which is very normal on the 6. That I'll meter that on the screen so y'all can see it. But so short, there you go. So that cap is bad. That should not beep on a cap. So in theory, this board should now boot. I'll test it out. I'm gonna turn stream off and talk to this guy when he comes in, because they're here. And then if he's okay, I'll stream his board stuff. If not, I'll be back on after I get done with it. So thanks for watching, guys and gals. I'll be back here shortly if he's okay with the stream, and we'll do some more repairs. See y'all in a little bit.